This is our second math lesson about equations and inequalities. Equations are equal. Inequalities either have a less than or greater than sign because they're not equal. Okay, so let's just take a look at a few to start out. Now remember, if you want to just listen for a while, you can do that. If you want to pause it right after I talk about it and try to figure it out yourself, and then you can continue and listen and see if you got the right answer. So let's take a look at the first one, 6 times 5 being compared to this over here. So pause it if you want to try to do it on your own, otherwise listen. Okay, this, someone that doesn't really know math might think, well, that's just a weird looking 56. Well, no, what it is, it's 5 with no sign in between that and the 6. So in math, if you don't have a sign between two numbers, if you think back to the previous part of these lessons, that means multiply. Anytime there's no sign, it means you multiply them together. Okay? So we know that 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 6 would be the same thing, because if you flip-flop the factors, the answer doesn't change. It's still the same product. So that's 30 as well. So what sign would we put in there? If it's the same, obviously it's equal. So that one is what you'd call an equation. Let's take a look at this one. 13 times 5 compared to 13 minus 5. Now this one you really don't even have to do any math. All you have to do is use common sense. Let's think about 13 times 5. That would be huge. 13 groups of 5. Here you have 13 minus 5, so you're going to have less than 13. So there's no way this can be anywhere near this. Okay, so your alligator's going to eat up the greater one. We don't even need to figure it out. We know by using common sense that this is greater. So 13 times 5 is greater than 13 minus 5. Let's try this one. 6 plus 7, first grade basic fact, that equals 13. Okay, then over here we have 3 times 4. That's one of your easier third grade basic facts. That equals 12. Okay, so 13 is greater than 12, right? So the alligator has to eat the greater number. So 13 is greater than 12. Okay, let's do some more. Now remember, if you don't know a basic fact, don't just guess at it. That would be the last resort. You have strategies you can use. You could draw an array, you could draw a picture, you could do repeated addition. Okay, so I highly recommend that you study your basic multiplication facts as much as you can, because when you know them, all of this stuff becomes easy after that. Okay, let's try this one. 3 times 4 compared to 20 minus 10. Okay, so on this side we have 3 times 4. Easy, we just did it. That's 12. 20 minus 10, that's pretty easy too. That's 10. Okay, so 12 compared to 10, 12 is greater than 10. So the alligator gobbles up the bigger number. Okay, let's try 5 times 6 being compared to 4 times 8. Now pause it if you want to try it on your own, but here we go. 5 times 6, pretty easy. If you don't remember it, just count by 5s until you have 6 fingers up, right? You'd have 30. Okay, 4 times 8, well, by now you've seen it plenty of times, but if you don't know it, just use a strategy. Okay, but anyways, it's 32. So 30 is less than 32. Okay, here's the less than sign, and the alligator gobbles up the bigger number. Okay, if you just want to think of it that way, that's fine. 30 is less than 32. Okay, let's do a couple more, and then you can think of some others to practice on your own. Okay, let's do 9 times 4 being compared to 6 times 6. Okay, once again, let's pretend you know your basic facts. These are ones that you've seen a bunch of times. Okay, 9 times 4, that equals 36. 6 times 6, that also equals 36. Okay, it's the same number. That means they're equal. So this one is called an equation. Okay. All right, let's try this one. 12 times 4 being compared to 12 divided by 4. Now, both of these you could figure out, but you really don't even need to. You start with 12 with both of them. This one has multiply, this one has divide. When you multiply numbers, they always get bigger. When you divide numbers, it would get smaller. So if this one's going to get bigger and it starts with 12, and this one's going to get smaller and it starts with 12, obviously this has to be the greater number. So you can get the answer for this one without even doing the calculations. Okay, this one's greater. So the alligator is going to gobble up the greater number. Okay, now if you don't know your basic facts, study them. Okay, if you have studied in one way and it's not working for you, find a different method. But that is the most important thing in third grade math, is to make sure you know all of your basic multiplication facts between 0 and 9. If you do that, it's going to make your life so much easier. Okay? You will have some problems where you can just use common sense like this. And if you can use common sense for a shortcut, then by all means, go ahead and do that. So see if you can find a few more similar types of problems. This one's called an inequality because they're not equal. So with both equations and inequalities, try to do some more on your own. The more you practice, the better off you're going to be.